What going on, ladies and gents, boys and girls? Welcome to the DMP Sports Talkshow. It's your boy Mike Rogers in the cut. Got my boy Mike Richman in the house. Say what's up to him.
What's up, my guy?
What's going on? Salami squad is in the building. Today is 12/8/2020. Beautiful Tuesday. Hope y'all had a nice weekend. We're gonna do what we do today on our Tuesday show and just recap a little football and shit we saw all over the weekend. We have a game going on right now between the Cowboys and the Ravens. Just been a kind of a weird schedule, having two Monday night games and obviously having a Tuesday game. That's
multiple times this year.
Yeah, just we on that COVID shit's getting messed up, schedules going downhill and whatnot, but
takes everyone. All right.
Facts. Wear your mask, and don't fucking go places. But yeah, either way, we got some heavy football to talk about. Crazy week of football. Week 13 as we're gearing towards that that playoff march here. Coming down the end, teams are fighting for them spots, and it's exciting time for football. The wild card, I think, starts January 9th. That's your boy's birthday. Holla, gonna be a nice one. Watch some football. But yeah, we're going to do what we do, talk about some football. We got anything to talk about at the end, we'll mention quick. If not, let's just get on with it. First game we want to talk about was the Saints and the Falcons. I know past couple of weeks we've been kind of on this Taysom Hill thing where I know me and you have both said,
Let me tell you something about Taysom Hill, boy.
Tell me something about Taysom Hill.
Talk about 27 for 37, 232 yards, 2 tutties with 83 rushing yards. That's a dual threat, boy.
Yeah, that was damn impressive. I know we've been saying the past couple of weeks we thought Jameis should be out there. And then obviously we mentioned before that game with the Broncos was just a wash. Didn't look impressive at all. But, we said on Friday's show, going into this game, I think the Falcons are going to make him prove if he can use his arm. And like you said, he obviously had some good rush yards, but threw the ball very well. I was actually super impressed. Throwing darts, man. He's actually looking really good.
He throws passes more off balance than any other QB, and they go exactly where he wants them. He's always on the run throwing passes, and he just gets it there. It's super weird style, but gets the job done.
He's been getting the job done, and like I said, the Saints as a whole, I think, we've obviously said Kansas City, the Steelers and whatnot, Green Bay, but New Orleans to me is right in that conversation as the best team in the league. I still think, even though Kansas City's AFC, they are, but that defense is legit, and obviously we've mentioned before with the last year, them winning those 4 games without Drew Brees with Teddy Bridgewater, and now looking like they're going to win 4 games here with Taysom Hill at the helm. I think Drew Brees comes back next week. I'm not sure, but just Peyton, Sean Payton. Just, being able to win games no matter who's behind the helm. Obviously, Drew Brees and a Hall of Fame quarterback, but on the other side of that, Drew Brees being that good, we're also seeing how good Sean Payton just is as a head coach. I mean, we've known that he's got a Super Bowl and whatnot, but it's kind of a lighter version of what Tom Brady and Belichick is. I mean, this is just a QB coach combo we've been seeing the past 10, 11 years, and they just kind of know how to win football games. They haven't had perfect years, but they've stuck together, and obviously Sean Payton knows how to coach the quarterback position and whatnot. And yeah, Taysom Hill looked damn impressive. That was a really good performance. I mean, like I said, just more or less didn't know what to think of the Falcons going into that game. That's been their story all year. And we did kind of say, though, I did think that they were going to force Taysom Hill to use his arm, and he kind of just went out and did that, and they looked impressive. The defense looked really good, and just they have a really good football team. They clinched the playoff spot. So that's good for them. They're clinched. So, I mean, they're going to be a playoff team. That's going to be a hard playoff team to play. My thing is now when they get Drew Brees back in the lineup, what that's going to look like, if they're just going to be able to pick up and go. I mean, I'm sure they will. It might take a game or something, might be rusty or whatnot. But
I mean, like you said, with that position being clinched, that kind of does give Brees a little bit of fuck up room there. So
he could take a game or two.
Kamara and Thomas both had good games. Notoriously, these past 3 weeks, they've been kind of not really having much production, but both of them had very good games. And you said it for me, dude, but the Falcons literally just went back to losing games in the last 2 minutes. They were right in this game. They had a chance to win it. It was 3rd and 2 from the Saints 13. They run the ball, lose 7 yards, and then just tossed a bomb to Julio, and it didn't work. I mean, Julio almost caught that shit. If you go back and watch the replay, like that was a lot closer than it needed to be, and they did have a closer pass. But, they wouldn't have had time to probably run another play because you would have had to sprint everyone up. I don't believe they had any timeouts or anything, but Falcons just still have trouble closing out games for sure. So, but yeah, shout out Saints, dude. First clinched playoff spot. So
yeah, good for them.
That's a Super Bowl defense, bro. I've been saying it. Like that's some shit going on over there.
It is, and I could make the argument. I think if the Saints and the Packers played tomorrow, I kind of like the Saints in that position. I'm not gonna lie. I just like
that's
that
what
defense
it comes down
and whatnot.
For me, too. That's the NFC right there for sure.
That's I think so too. Obviously Seahawks in that conversation possibly, but I strongly think so too. That I think that is a team that can win a Super Bowl. Next game we're going to talk about, I don't think is a team that can win a Super Bowl, but the Cleveland Browns versus the Tennessee Titans. This is probably I've been on Baker and the Browns kind of all year. That was probably the most important and biggest win Baker's had in his career up to this point.
Huge.
I mean, it obviously, as we said last week, this was kind of going to decide. An 8-3 record looks pretty and whatnot, but this game was kind of going to decide whether or not it was legit or not. Baker went out there and just looked so good, very impressive. Like I said, this is the biggest win of his career. I think he shut a lot of haters up. Just 300 yards, touchdowns. It was all there. It looked super comfortable.
4 touchdowns in the first half from Baker.
Insane. The only thing we did see, what did they go into halftime with? They had a crazy lead going into halftime. I think they led 38 to something.
And then the score ended 41-35. So yeah, I mean Titans were right there in it for sure, but it came down to the run game, like as everyone predicted with this. And both these teams have pretty effective run games, but the Browns were better. I mean, they held Derrick Henry to 60 yards. If you can do that, you're probably going to beat the team. They held him to 60 yards and they still got 35 points. So,
yeah,
I mean, the Titans are still nothing to wink at.
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like they're still a good team, but I don't know. The Browns are going to be on a playoff run, dude. Like without a doubt, the Browns are legit. And Jarvis Landry stepping up, like you got to love it. It's so good to see.
Yeah, I firmly believe right now. I honestly think the Browns could win a playoff game right now. Like you said, I don't think it's a Super Bowl team or whatnot, and I think that's okay.
You never know, dude.
I think that's fine. Maybe for sure. But Baker really fucking stepped up, and that was a damn good performance. And like I said, on the Tennessee side of the ball, I still think they're okay. They're the best team in their division, and stuff over the Colts. I still think the Titans would be okay. But that was a pretty convincing performance by the Browns. Like you said, that second half, how the Titans were able to come back. Honestly, just like the Browns have low-key never been in that situation before, having that big of a lead.
Never even had
probably just didn't know what to do, didn't know how to manage that time, and just got comfortable and whatnot. And I can't blame them for that, but. At this point going forward, I mean, that's what we needed to see out of Baker. We obviously knew, he's a decent quarterback. And, I'm still not ready to put him in an elite category or whatnot.
Well, that's the point I want to make here is going forward, Baker's notoriously spotty. He's got that cycle of, doesn't have a good game, gets shit on social media, comes out, blows him out like he did here, and then just restarts that cycle. So I would really like to see him stay consistent here, but we just got to wait and see what happens. They got a couple more games here, so.
Yeah, and so I mean, I think Baker could be that elite quarterback if they just keep doing what they're doing and focus on the run game. I mean, he obviously had massive yardage in this game or whatnot, but that whole team is just built around the run.
So good at handing the ball off, dude. Baker's elite ball hand offer.
He is. And I mean, he's ridiculously accurate in the medium to short range and whatnot. Doesn't have much of an arm per se, but yeah, super impressive. Really, really impressed. Gonna just keep looking forward to watching Baker games. That's probably awesome for Browns fans. That's gonna be the first plus 500 season they've had in God knows how long.
I think it was 2002 or something like that. Yeah,
that's insane. But good for them, dude. Good for Cleveland. I know that. They've been struggling out that piece for a minute, so good for them, good for Baker, good for the Browns. That was pretty awesome to see. Next game we're going to talk about that I don't really want to talk about is the goddamn Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears. Just another one of those games. We said Friday. I mean, this just two mediocre football teams that kind of put up. It was a fun game to watch. I'm not even going to lie. Like I said, it was definitely a red zone game for me, but
that's that DMP trend right there, bro.
Yeah.
These shit teams have great games. This is a 34-30, 64-point game. Like
a lot of yards going on. And I'm going to be kind of honest here. Mitch Trubisky did not look bad. I'm going to be honest with
Both
that.
him and Stafford looked great.
Stafford looked great for sure. He came out. He had some energy. That ball was coming out his hand fast. But Mitch obviously didn't play insane or anything. But I thought it was a good performance by Mitch. I think some other things just went astray in that game. We got some big rush yards out of David Montgomery, which is good to see. That's kind of been one of their struggles all year. Has been able to establish the run game. But I think Mitch played solid. And like I said, it's just two teams that it's been kind of the same story all year. They're going to win some games. They're going to lose some games.
Yeah.
And I don't think they play again, right? They've played already. As a second meeting between them, I'm pretty sure.
I believe so, but not sure.
I mean, yeah, like you said, it just kind of doesn't matter. These aren't two playoffs teams. Obviously, divisional teams, so it's fun to watch. A little bit of rivalry, whatnot. You want to go on, but like I said, bad game, but 34-30. I mean, it was exciting or bad teams, I should say, but exciting game, whatnot, and it was definitely something to watch. Shout out Stafford for going out there and whipping that ball.
I mean, with their head coach being fired, Darrell Bevel, we were talking about last week, he came in and said the game plan on defense is to play more loose, and they gave up 30 points. So that's obviously not a good thing. But just another thing to consider, with an interim head coach, the whole team is essentially on the chopping block going into next year. So it's pretty much time to nut up or shut up in Detroit. And like they had a great game. Like they put up 34 points and they allowed 30, which you don't really like to see that. But I mean, they still had some good stops.
Yeah. So I mean, good for Stafford and them. He said playing loose, and then you see what happens.
Yeah, they put up 30 on you. Yeah, it's like, let's tighten up just a little bit, bud. Like,
yeah, tighten up, dude. You're gonna wind up with that tub girl action. Google at your own risk. But we're gonna move off that game. Talk about another game. We got Miami Dolphins, Cincinnati Bengals. Tua's out here winning football games. We obviously saw a couple weeks ago he got benched for Fitzmagic, and then last week he was out with a hand injury, something like that, and came in and just kind of did enough to get it done. I mean, they played obviously very good on defense. The Miami defense is legit. It's been legit all year, and they did just enough on offense to be able to walk away with that 19-7 score. And nothing on the Bengals side. I don't really have anything to talk about the Bengals side. They did some stuff. Tyler Boyd's a really good player and whatnot, but Brandon Allen's not going to win you any football games. But Tua looked impressive. Myles Gaskins looked impressive.
Love Myles Gaskins, bro. 21 carries, 90 yards, 2 receptions for 51. Like that's a young stud right there.
Yeah.
But overall, this game was just scrappy, sloppy. There was 5 players ejected. So I mean, you saw the Twitter clips, all the beef going on. Mm-hmm. Shout out the boy Kyle Van Noy had 3 sacks. That Miami defense totaled for 6, which is just insane. Mm-hmm. And also shout out the kicker Jason Sanders going for 4 for 4. He's having a career high year. He's got 28 made field goals through 12 games. That's pretty insane. And yeah, you're right. On the Bengals side, they're pretty much just dead till Joey B gets back. I really would like to see them try to build up and actually try to protect him when he is healthy, to not have a repeat injury. Because I mean, we've said it time and time again, but that kid is something, and like I just want to see him play. So let's try to get some dudes in front of him.
Yeah, and I mean they'll obviously have another good draft pick this year. I think there's some good offensive linemen that are going to go early. That I think that should be number 1 on their draft board, is to go get one of those guys, and just to protect the quarterback. Because if you look at Miami's side of the ball, that's obviously what they've done. They got a pretty decent offensive line. Like you said, we've said before, guys like Kyle Van Noy. Dolphins are one of the younger teams in the league, but then they have some of those pieces around the roster, like Kyle Van Noy's guys that dudes won a couple championships with the Patriots and whatnot, and good veteran player to put in around some of those young players, to just whether for the locker room or to show that veteran leadership and whatnot, and it's been working. Like I said, that's
a legit team too, bro. Like you see, like when they start getting scrappy, it's not just one person and everyone's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Like everyone comes over and supports them. I know that's just like one of those weird things to think about, but that's very important for the well-being of your team, just to know that they have each other's backs like that. So I don't know, the Dolphins are on one.
Dolphins are on one, dude. I've been on this way for a minute, dude. Just everything from the play to the culture. I just think the Dolphins just got it going down there in Miami. So good for them. I'm looking to see if potential playoff, just what's going to happen with that team. They just play hard, and it's just fun to watch. another game that was kind of fun to watch. You have Jacksonville Jaguars, Mike Glennon neck, dude. Dude's got some shit going on, bro. Versus First Cousins, and I kind of thought the Jags were gonna sneak this one at one point, but it's just, to me, it's just another one of them games. I mean, we're talking the Vikings versus the Jaguars. I mean, this was one of those. I mean, what do we have to say? Stat wise, no one really did anything too crazy. And it just kind of is what it is. First Cousins had himself a little good game. He's been kind of hot the past couple weeks,
Yeah.
and the Vikings in general have been hot in the past couple weeks. Dalvin Cook obviously is Dalvin Cook. Make the case he's the best back in the league as far as maybe a dual threat goes. Him and Kamara. Derrick Henry, I think, is, but as far as being able to catch and receive. But the big thing we're talking receiving for the Vikings is that boy Justin Jefferson, first rookie to have 1,000 yards with the Vikings since that boy number 84, Randy Moss, who's obviously a Hall of Famer and whatnot. And that's good for Vikings. I'd be excited if I'm a Vikings fan. That kid is a stud. Seems to be having a good relationship, good chemistry with him and Cousins. And he's just, what's the little dance they do? I forgot what it's called, but
It's pretty good. And that duo too with Thielen that's the 1-2 you want. And especially like you said, with Jefferson being a rookie and playing the way he is, he's just out of his mind.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about Mike Glennon a little bit more, dude. Like, he's putting the Jags in position to win for these past couple weeks.
Yeah.
And they're still probably going to draft a QB no matter what. But I think he earned himself a great place in that locker room and or QB room. This is a dude who's been in the league since 2013. He's played in Tampa, Chicago, Arizona, Oakland, and now Jacksonville. And, he might not have that crazy stat line or anything, but he's an experienced backup. And if you look at like what's going on with like Tua and Fitz, Tua hopped right on his hip and is learning so much from Fitzpatrick. And again, Fitzpatrick isn't that crazy stat guy, but he's been around the league and he's got so much experience. So I think Mike Glennon is in a good position to help whatever rookie they bring in. So shout out him. They're probably not going to win another game, but I think he's playing extremely well.
Well, see, and that's the thing too. They 100% are going to draft a quarterback, try to find that franchise guy. But, you're saying the Mike Glennons and the Fitzpatricks, especially those are two guys who I think just completely buy into their role. They know that, like, hey, we're not going to be the franchise guy or whatnot. Obviously, Fitzmagic has won a lot of football games throughout his career and has thrown a lot of yards and touchdowns and whatnot. I don't think Fitzpatrick's no scrub. And I'm not saying Mike Glennon's a scrub. I'm just saying, like you say, a good locker room guy knows he's more or less kind of the backup. And
you need people like that.
A backup's job is pretty much just to prepare the starter and be there and see him obviously being on the sideline and being able to see things that the quarterback can at the time, being able to relay that message. And like you said, sometimes the starter gets hurt, whatnot. You're in a situation like Mike Glennon's in, you're going to get the start. And like I said, just being that caliber quarterback, you're going to have a couple good weeks. You're going to have some stink fest. It just comes with the territory of being kind of a mid quarterback. Like I said, I'm not taking anything away from him. It's just, is what it is. And I think if he buys into his role, if they want to keep him around and bring in a young stud next year, Justin Fields or what have you, have Mike Glennon maybe start the next couple games next year just to get let the boys see some action or whatnot, or just throw them out to the wolves. But I definitely agree. That's a backup quarterbacks in the quarterback room, I think, is super important. And I think it's a lot deeper than some people think it is. It's just bumping, starting and whatnot. I think, some layers to that. And, hey, good for Mike Glennon. Like I said, he's been past 2 weeks, been putting them in position. I mean, the past, besides 1 week there, the couple weeks they had there with Luton, I mean, they've been in some close games.
Obviously, pretty much every week. Yeah.
Started with Green Bay and they've just been kind of playing hard and whatnot. And that's my whole thing about, like, you look at the Jags, you look at the Jets and whatnot, that just comes down to when they say the word tanking, it's not players, it's not coaches, that they don't tank. Those are obviously, we'll talk about the Jets here in a second, but it's like in their situation, we're talking about those players don't care. Those coaches don't care if they're getting Trevor Lawrence next year. They're worried about having a job next year and whatnot. Same with all these Jaguars players and the Jaguars staff. I mean, they don't care about who's coming in next year. These guys want to win football games and, to be able to maintain a job. So, tanking, is just it's a weird concept. But like I said, I don't think they win another football game, but they've been playing good and it's been competitive. So, but low key, fuck that game is the Jaguars Vikings. So we're gonna move.
But yeah, I mean, looking forward though, real quick for the Vikings right now are 6-6, and they're not necessarily out of it. Their remaining schedule, they got the Bucks, Bears, Saints, and Lions. And, none of those are going to be easy games to win, even against the Bears. But I don't know. So we're going to see the Vikings are either going to be legit or not here. They're going to finish 10-6, or I think they're going to finish 6-10. I think it's going to be all or nothing one way or the other. But like we said, though, Kirk Cousins in the last 2 minutes of the game has been that dude this year. So
showing up.
Let's see what happens.
For all that money, dude, it's about time. Talk about another game here. Just keep going down the list. We got the Colts versus the Texans. Hey, it's just been more or less. Colts obviously should have won this game. Philip Rivers looked pretty impressive. I love the fucking Colts running game they got between Taylor and Wilkins and Himes. This is without Marlon Mack. So technically, I think they have a four-headed running machine that's just been able to get it done. And I'm going to talk about real quick. I think since 2010, one of, if not the most underrated player, I think, in the NFL, and that's that boy T.Y. Hilton. I know he does have a couple Pro Bowls under his belt, so it's like, how are you going to call a guy that's made the Pro Bowl underrated? But it's just, this is a dude that's been so consistent. He was there with Andrew Luck, and now being here with Philip Rivers, last year being with Jacoby, and just putting up these numbers, man. It's a dude that just kind of shows up, does his thing. He's not going to have a good game every week, but when he's on, he's on. I think that dude's been super undervalued throughout the years. I know people in Indiana love him, but
8 receptions, 110 yards, and a tutty this week.
Balling. Still waiting on some of these, some of the younger receivers from the Colts. I know they went and drafted Michael Pittman high from Notre Dame and whatnot. But it is what it is. They've been playing good football. I know they got washed last week. And the Texans just kind of stink. And that just is what it is. Texans.
That's it. The Texans do fucking stink, but Deshaun Watson is a freak, brother. He's so good. Literally playing hero ball out there. He's got 341 passing yards, 38 rushing with a rushing touchdown. And I keep saying this every week, but he's so good at spreading the field. He had 3 receivers with over 60 yards. I mean, that's just insane.
Dabo Sweeney called him the Michael Jordan of football. Based off talent level.
I mean, I don't think he's quite there. He's not. I don't know if he's quite there yet, but I mean, he's up there, dude. I mean, he's playing dummy lights out. I mean, the team literally hasn't even really been coached this year. Before, even when they had Bill O'Brien, that shit was still a mess. So I mean, hopefully,
like 78.
Yeah. So hopefully next year, I mean, they can figure out that front office issue going on in Houston. But Colts had a few stumbles this year, but they're 8-4 team. They're gonna keep winning. Like, I feel like every time the Colts lose, we're like, oh fuck, they suck. But
yeah, no, it's a good football team for sure. Like you said, I think that Titans game was just a little bit of a hiccup on their part. But that's a good football team, good defense, and like you said, when Philip Rivers is a good quarterback. And I think people forget that a lot. Obviously, he's just older and whatnot, and I wouldn't say is as good anymore. But it's Philip Rivers. Doesn't have any rings or anything, but it's just Philip Rivers. So he's gonna figure out how to win some football games. Yeah. Obviously, Frank Reich at the head coach, good coach. So good for the Colts. Gonna move on though to talk about my squad, the New York Jets versus the Las Vegas Raiders. And this is just. They lost that game on purpose, 100%. Yesterday morning, they went ahead and fired Greg Williams. And I've been reading a lot of stuff about that. And my thing is, like we've said about the whole tanking thing, especially in the Jets organization, is like, obviously I don't think Greg Williams, like I said, gives a fuck if they get Trevor Lawrence next year. I think the man just wants to know if he's going to have a job somewhere, which he probably will. But that makes me think, he's obviously not trying to tank. So I'm sitting there looking like, what the fuck was that play call? That might have been the worst defensive play call of all time.
Let me set this up for you here, because this stat has been thrown around. A couple other people have been talking about this, but at the end of the game, the Jets sent the house. So that's defined as at least 7 pass rushers. So let me set up the situation again here. So it's the final 15 seconds of regulation between a 4 and 8 point lead. The Jets are up. And it was 40 plus yards from the end zone. Since 2006, there's been 251 pass plays in that exact situation. The Jets are the only time there has ever been 7 pass rushers sent. Like, what are we doing? And then the dude covering him, whose name is ironically Lamar Jackson, he was covering Ruggs. He ran a 4.5 at the combine. Like, that dude is fast, first of all. So something's fishy, dude. Like, that was like,
I didn't go front. I don't think it's fishy at all. I think they just lost the game on purpose. Like they realized they might have be winning this game and just like, no, we just can't do that, dude. So they just kind of pulled the plug on the thing.
I mean, someone's they're definitely either throwing or they're just lighting up fucking crack on the sideline. Like, what are you doing, bro? They had the game won. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, there's just no way they were gonna win it. Like I said, they're gonna go 0-16 on purpose. And I think one of the good takeaways for the Jets was, I mean, for a little while there, Darnold wasn't playing bad football. He only completed 14 passes, but like I said, at this point, he's just kind of boosting his own value potentially to hit some form of trade market with someone who'd be interested down the line. And just kind of is what it is. They got good rushing yards out of Ty Johnson. Poor Frank Gore went out with a concussion, man.
That's probably it, dude. That's probably it for Frank Gore.
It has to be, dude. That's like his 6th, 7th one, and just I don't know. I feel so bad, and that shit was all wasted on such a shitty Jets team and just a bad story. But I don't know. They had the game won and just decided we can't win this game. Like I'm saying, they're right there with the Jaguars. It's just not going to happen.
That is the most preposterous defensive play call we've ever seen. Like that's going to go down as some shit. It's so crazy.
Yeah, and I think the Jets has some form of to try to hit us with some form of Band-Aid, firing Greg Williams to, I think, make Jets fans happy. I would imagine why that move was made, to show us Jets fans that, hey, we're doing something about the situation, but I could have gave a fuck either less. But yeah, it was just super egregious. It would have been crazy to think the Raiders were about to get embarrassed by the Jets, but just kind of blew the fucking thing, dude. And just like, what a shit show. And, but I've been saying all year, it just kind of is what it is. I'm not mad at shit anymore. Jets go 0-16. Like, I'm not mad. Just
you kind of want it at this point. Yeah.
At this point, you do want it, and that's crazy to think. As a person who loves a football team, to want to see them lose, like that's obviously a weird thing to say and perspective to look at things. But sometimes you got to look at that bigger picture. There's going to be, just get past this year and just move forward, because literally you can only go up. So we'll see what happens. That was absolutely just preposterous, but is what it is, and just move off of that because I'm going to get angry. So next game we have here is the New York Football Giants and Seattle Seahawks. Let Russ cook. And here's my thing. I've been saying something. I've been saying how I feel about the Giants and whatnot. And I've been hearing a lot of people say, upset of the year, this and that or whatnot. And I'm like, I don't really think it was that big of an upset as people think it was. I really, really think the Giants are that good of a football team. Colt McCoy went out there and slung the damn thing, dude. That was just super impressive. So weird to see Colt McCoy win a football game in 2020.
Yeah.
Just some shit you never thought you'd see. But that defense is real, dude. Like I said, a 5-7 record from the New York Giants isn't pretty at all.
That's first place.
Yeah, that's first place, and obviously Washington winning, their same record, but Giants, I've been saying all year since like week 2 or 3 that, especially after Saquon went down and when that's a potential 7-5 team right now if Saquon's still on the team.
Yeah.
That team plays super, super hard. I think Joe Judge has them very, very well coached. And the way they've been running the ball lately with Gallman and everything, they're a pound the rock football team that just plays hard on defense.
Imagine that 1-2 when Saquon is back.
Mm-hmm. And they just outperformed Seattle. It just kind of is what it is. They just, Russ didn't look too crazy. The run game, I don't really think was there all that much. DK had himself kind of a little bit of a game, but Giants were just able to do the thing. It was obviously a low-scoring game, 17-12, so there wasn't a lot of offense done in general. But like I said, that was just the Giants rushing the football, Wayne Gallman, and then Colt McCoy just making passes when he needs to. He only had 105 yards because that's really all he needed. A dub's a dub, especially over a team like Seattle. But like I'm saying, a lot of people were upset and all this and that, which I mean, it surely was. Seattle was definitely favorited, but I don't think it was as that big of a deal as we say it is. I mean, I honestly think if Saquon and Danny Dimes was on this team, I mean, they obviously are going to be a playoff team. I think they run off with the division at that point. I think that's a huge boost for them. But I genuinely think this is a very good football team that just plays hard. It's like Miami for me. Miami and New York kind of got the same thing going on for me. I think just good culture, good coaching, and just players that want to play hard, and it shows throughout the game. I mean, it's the same thing we've been dogging on the Eagles the whole year. I think the same thing when I watch Eagles game, those players play hard. You just, you're not getting the end result you want, but it is what it is, man. And then just, shout out to the Giants. I absolutely hate the fucking New York Giants, and their fans are just insufferable, but I got to tip my hat to them, dude. They're playing good football this year. And like I said, 5-7 record. To say they're playing good football is kind of crazy, but I just think they're so much better than that record. And they've obviously had a lot of shit go on this year, but I think super impressive win. And like I said, Seattle's still sitting at 8-4. Obviously think the hype for them is definitely dying down as we're just starting to see, like, they just really haven't been able to figure some shit out on a week-to-week basis, and have just been looking really inconsistent as of late. And you want to talk about hero ball with Russell Wilson, but Giants figured it out, had a good game plan, executed. Colt McCoy, dude, that's insane.
Yeah, I mean, just a couple things here. It was definitely a self-destruction from that Seattle offense, but not taking it away from Giants here. They were a plus 11 underdog going into this game. Like, I slammed the fuck out of that bet. That made no sense to me, especially with Seattle's defense putting up or allowing so many points. But the Seahawks here Seahawks under Pete Carroll were 68-23 at home before this game. So I think that's kind of where the upset is coming from.
Yeah.
But that Giants defense is crazy. They're all young. They have 7 starting rookies. And this is the 4th game in a row that they've held the team to under 21 points. So that's huge. And like we said, in the NFC East, that 5-7 record is insane. Their remaining games, they have the Cardinals, Browns, Ravens, and Cowboys. So again, those really aren't going to be easy games.
I think they can win a couple of those, though.
I think they can win those. I mean, we've been seeing the Cardinals lose a couple, which we'll talk about here in a second, but they're probably going to lose to that Browns team, I think. But the other 3, I definitely think the Giants are right there in it.
Yeah, no, they can. I definitely think they could beat Oakland. I definitely think they could beat the Cowboys for sure. So yeah, I mean, hey, they could fuck around and go even, maybe do a little, you know what I'm saying? I think 9-7. Maybe they just went out from here, but we'll see. I'm actually like glued to my TV low key watching New York Giants games the past couple of weeks. Something I never thought I'd say, but just been fun football, dude. Just like football 101. I like what I've seen, and shout out to him. But you mentioned the Cardinals. That's the other game we're going to talk about is Arizona and the Rams. And we are us having our little back and forth for a while here about these two teams and who we like more. And I just kind of think the Rams put a kind of stamp in that argument. We've said that since McVay's been with the Rams, they're 6-0 over the Cardinals. They just kind of have their number. And like I said, there's about 3 weeks there where obviously Kyler Murray was in some MVP talks, and the Cardinals hype train was at an all-time high. I was on that hype train. Super fun to watch, super electric offense. And I mean, they still are. But I just think, Kyler Murray and whatnot, and just some of their offensive weapons, I just think they're very limited. I think this is a team where if you know what you're looking for on film, I think it's a very stoppable football team. And I mean, they were obviously able to go out there and score some points for sure. Kept it pretty close. Especially with the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, with that being said so Kyler Murray threw for 173 with 3 touchdowns, but honestly had a bad game. I know he's a rookie and stuff, but something I really fucking hate about Kyler Murray is his pouty face on the sideline, bro. I'm a collegiate ultimate frisbee coach, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but if I see a player on the sideline acting like that, you slap the shit out of them. Like, you don't act like that, especially in the NFL as the QB. You are literally the center of morale. Like, everyone needs to be uplifted by you, and he's just sitting there with his iPad. Like I hate that. I hate that.
Well, one, he's definitely not a rookie, but second year.
You're right.
I have seen that for sure from him. That's my one thing. And I know last week he kind of aggravated his shoulder and whatnot, so I don't know if that played a part in anything that went on this week. But
Regardless, but
yeah,
and they just got to tighten up on third down as well. They were 4 for 12 on third down. And, honestly, it came down to defense, and the Rams have a better defense here. Just looking at the other side real quick, Jared Goff, listen to this shit, had 9 different receivers with over 20 yards. I don't know if that's happened this year before.
I told you, bro. I'm all the way in on Jared Goff. Like, he's definitely not no Patty Mahomes or whatnot, but like, dude's been to the Super Bowl. That's one of those. If Goff and McVay, like, I think they just know each other so well. Like I said, I definitely think Jared Goff is limited for sure. He's obviously not the athlete and stuff some other guys are, but he has a really good arm. I think he's really smart up here. That's 50% of the quarterback position at the end of the day. And like I said, I think he's one of the best, if not the best quarterback. When he is comfortable in that pocket, he can pick you apart. He's just cut from that cloth where if he's just in that mind frame and he's comfortable and he's set, he's going to do some stuff on offense. And like I said, I like me some Jared Goff. I just like the Rams as a whole. I just think offensively they got good weapons. Obviously defensively, the Jalen Ramseys and the Aaron Donalds and but like I said, like there's maybe 6-7 quarterbacks I'd take over Jared Goff at this point if I had to. Maybe not that even. I'm just high on his stock. Like I said, I'd take him all day over Kyler Murray if we're being honest. I just like, at the end of the day, it's all about throwing the football and just with the limited stuff you're going to potentially get out of Kyler. And like I said, it's kind of the same thing we're seeing out of Lamar this year. Obviously having explosive first, second years, and then just one of those things, you get tape on him, you realize it's like, it's either going to be a bomb or this dude's just going to take off running, and it just kind of is what it is. And defenses can sniff that out. Like I said, they're still good enough to put up points. They're going to put up points. It's going to be electric. He's going to have numbers at the end of the day. But if we're talking end of the year, deep playoff runs, I just don't think the Cardinals are built like that. I think they're on the up and up, possibly. But I like the Rams in that division.
Rams right now, you just said it, number 1 in their division with that Seahawks and 49er loss. So
I would take the Rams over the Seahawks right now. It's just a more complete team to me. I like them, and I'm going to stick by that until we just see what happens at the end of the year. But real quick, we're about to talk about an ass whooping right here between the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Chargers. That man Cam Newton only had 70 yards passing, and they went out there and ran up 45 on Justin Herbert. And this is exactly what I told you. This isn't the Chargers versus New England. This is Bill Belichick versus Justin Herbert. That's exactly what happened. Just had the perfect game plan to disrupt him, and just that was a shit show and a half. Obviously Herbert having a couple picks and New England's defense just being insane. Just kind of is what it is. I mean, that really puts New England in a good spot. I mean, obviously, they're sitting at 500 right now. So, I mean, anything can really happen at that point. Possible wild card team if they can figure some shit out. But because, I mean, they were able to go out there, pick off Herbert a couple of times and just shut that whole shit down. Went out there and just scored points. Even Jared Stidham got in there, got a couple passes, a little action.
I mean,
Cam really not a rushing yard, but not much to say, dude. It was just complete ass whooping. That was just elite coaching versus a rookie quarterback.
Talk about Belichick is now 20-5 against rookie QBs, 12-0 with that same stat in Gillette. And what was it? Sorry. Belichick is now the only coach in NFL history to have a win in 50 different stadiums going into the year. So only one to do it, probably will be the only one to do it because you got to be around to see some different stadiums at that point. So that's just another stat for Billy Bell right there. But yeah, I mean, just absolute stinker from the Chargers, brother. Like, come on, dude. Couldn't even get a field goal on him. Like, that's shit.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. But hey, shout out New England, dude. I'm just get ready to see what they could possibly do. Go on a little run here at the end. But I want to talk about another embarrassment. I'm just going to give it to you because I just got nothing to say anymore, dude. The Eagles fucking suck, brother. I'll just whatever you got.
I really don't have too much on this game. It really is just hurts my soul to watch the Eagles play every week. The only positive is that defense. Eagles have a very good defense. I mean, obviously Aaron Rodgers put up 30 here, but it's just rough, dude. We saw a good little bit of Jalen Hurts here, who confirmed has the start for next Sunday, which he should, but I'm not necessarily all the way off Carson Wentz, but there does have to be accountability. I was talking about this a couple of weeks ago when Tua got benched for Fitz again and reverse. It's like, if you're playing like that, you should honestly just sit a game, take a step back, and, try to figure it out. Like, if he's feeling all this pressure on him, they really should just try and alleviate some of that, as well as, try to justify your draft pick. So, I mean, we'll see what they can do this next Sunday. But really just one thing I want to talk about is the Eagles are a fucking nightmare against the spread. Last week they were fucking everyone over, and they did the same thing this week until the boy, Aaron Jones busted out a 77-yard run to cover that 8.5 spread, dude. I was screaming at the TV. This was the last game on my parlay. This man won me $500. Shout out. But I don't know. Eagles fucking stink, dude. It hurts me to say that, but honestly, the conversation here is Aaron Rodgers or Mahomes for MVP. That's,
Yeah,
they're up there. Aaron Rodgers got his 400th touchdown pass, fastest to do it in the history of the NFL. Shout out the man right there. I think just that pure talent alone, not talking about stats, rings, whatever. Aaron Rodgers is probably the best to ever do it, bro. Talent. Insane. What's your argument? Like, honestly.
My argument is in 10 years from now, Patrick Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes is really Aaron Rodgers V2 because, like you said, from having an arm, I've heard a bunch of people say the Shannon Sharps and whatnot, all these sports head talks on the TV talking about how Aaron Rodgers is probably the greatest thrower of the football, and now that conversation is kind of transitioning into Patrick Mahomes because he's insane. But I mean, I'd agree with that. I always get like the Rodgers Brady argument. Brady obviously having all the stats and I think as an athlete, but at the same time, I don't know, dude, because the other half of that is fucking Tom Brady, dude, and that psycho Tom, bro. And just, I hear people all the time say, well, if Rodgers had Belichick, they'd have 6-7 rings, and like maybe, but he doesn't. I know Tom Brady does. So I mean, it's just is what it is. I definitely see your argument, and like I'm not mad at it. You could definitely make that argument for sure. Aaron Rodgers is the fucking man, and the only thing is like, he didn't get to play the first 3 years. He started. So imagine what those numbers would look like if he had those and was on this trajectory. I mean, the dude's 37 and going out there and just balling. So I mean, he's definitely in the MVP conversation. Still think it goes to Mahomes, but and I mean, the Packers are going to be a good spot to potentially make a Super Bowl run. So they're going to be right there.
And Packers need that, dude. As an organization, we talked about this before, but you go from Bart Starr to Favre to Aaron Rodgers, and where they got 2 rings or 3.
Bart Starr got one.
There should be some more. So, I mean, I would like to see him in the Super Bowl. And like I said, on that NFC side, I mean, what is it? The Saints and the Packers for me. Seahawks possibly sneaking in there, but those are the really only 3 teams in my mind that are standing out.
Yeah, I agree. That'd be an awesome game to watch. The Packers and the Saints. See if something potentially comes down to that. But we just talking about Patty Mahomes. I want to talk about this Kansas City Denver Broncos. I think Drew Lock's trash. I'm gonna just go ahead and claim that statement now. Not a fan. Been on that all year. Melvin Gordon kind of went out and went dummy on him, which was crazy. But yeah, closer game than I think everybody thought they would.
For sure.
I know for sure. I'm not sure what the total for the points was. I think it was under, which is crazy to think from a Kansas City game.
22-16 Chiefs win. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Broncos' defense obviously being able to. I mean, Patty Mahomes still had 318 yards, but the tutties were low. They got a couple picks and stuff on defense, but just pulled out the win. Like I said, definitely not. I don't think anyone expected it to look like that, especially watching it on TV. It felt slow. It felt, Broncos were looking like they were making a case there for a minute. But Kansas City's just a better football team and came out there at the end. So, I mean, I don't really have anything to say about that game. Kansas City does what Kansas City does. Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football to me, and fuck Drew Lock, low-key.
I just want to talk about that Tyreek Hill no call on that TD. There was no challenge. Andy Reid came out
Yeah.
because Tyreek came on the sideline and said he dropped it. So Andy Reid said he always checks with the player before tossing that challenge out. So Tyreek literally had it, but thought the ball bounced off the ground into his hand, but it turned out being another player. And so that's just insane. Andy Reid was quoted saying he's never had a receiver not know he caught the ball.
Yeah.
So I mean that's just a funny little thing. But I mean, the clinch just chiefed. The Chiefs just clinched the playoff spot right there. So shout out them. We'll probably see them just dial it down a little bit these next couple of weeks just to prepare for that postseason.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's going to be exciting to watch. So they're definitely going to be there. I think 100%. Another team that I think is going to be there, but was not what I think anyone was expecting yesterday. This is, I think, was a genuine upset. Was Washington football team getting a win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Crazy. And I mean, here's my thing with the Steelers. This was their third game in 12 days. They obviously, they literally just played Wednesday. And obviously the Sunday before that, coming on the Wednesday, and then coming here on this on Monday. 3 games in 12 days. That's insane to think about.
We're talking professional football, dude. Like that hurts.
We're talking about like war. And a bunch of Steelers players on defense ended up getting hurt, and I'm like, I think it could have been way worse. I think they kind of escaped out of that lucky, just because I said, dude, that's got to wear and tear. I bet those boys are tired. I know they're angry for that game that was on Wednesday and whatnot.
They low-key didn't even have a bye.
Yeah, I mean, that situation was just kind of fucked up as a whole. And then, like you said, earlier in the year, they had the thing go down with Tennessee and whatnot, and that whole thing. So the Pittsburgh Steelers have been really not benefiting from this COVID stuff, which I mean, it's I wouldn't necessarily say it's their fault at all, because it's not, but it's just been a side effect of other teams or whatnot not really being able to handle their business, and Pittsburgh just kind of getting the raw end of that deal. And we saw that all kind of, I wouldn't say fall apart yesterday, but just come to kind of a halt in Washington. I think just playing better football and just kind of coming out electric. Alex Smith's low key, dude, just kind of been doing his thing the past couple weeks.
Let's talk about 5-head play Alex Smith right here, bro. So at the end of the first half, they were trying to get in field goal position, and they were, but they had enough time to run another play. So he dropped back in the pocket, gets sacked, and they have no timeouts and not enough time to spike the ball. So Alex Smith literally just takes the ball, runs off to the sideline, and what that does is causes an administrative issue, and the refs have to stop the clock because it's their fault that the ball's not there. So that set them up for a field goal that they hit. I mean, they won by 6 points here, but I mean, against the Steelers, an undefeated team, that could have been the difference. So, I mean, boom, dude, 5-head. We're talking 500 IQ. Dude, just like that's insane.
He also had that shit, dude, you saw where like he got cleated up on his leg and was just absolutely dripping blood. That was not
his bad leg, but that was gross. And also, another thing here, it's like, it should literally be called the Alex Smith Comeback of the Year award after this year, because you just look at what this man went through, dude. Oh my God. The fact that he's even playing, and he's playing very well, is insane.
I mean, dude almost died. He literally almost broke his leg and had the infections and whatnot. Like literally almost lost his life. And so not only to think that he made it out of that, but to then think like, I'm going to go back and play football after suffering just a gruesome injury, which I mean we've seen before, but obviously still get nervous with him being out there and whatnot, taking hits, and but yeah, definitely they. Like I said, that'll be a beautiful 30 for 30 at some point down the line. Just shout out to him. Like I said, Alex Smith has never been too crazy, just kind of been a middle road quarterback his life. He's obviously been to the playoffs and stuff, had a long run with the 49ers and the Chiefs. But just shout out to him, dude. That's awesome to watch, and them getting a huge win over Pittsburgh. And that boy Chase Young on the defensive side of the ball for Washington, dude, is a fucking animal. So shout out to him. Easily defensive rookie of the year. I don't think there's anybody else even in that conversation.
Not even a competition.
So I think and like I said, the Washington's got some good young offensive players. I think, or at both sides of the ball. Like we said, I like their running backs. Gibson really didn't I don't even know if he played like the second half of that game.
I
You
don't
know,
know if he got injured or something. Low key should have did a little investigation on that,
yeah,
but I
I
don't know.
didn't see anything about that. And and McKissick's good, and Terry McLaurin and stuff. He didn't have a big game either. But the Sims guy, they had a couple other players that were able to do things. And like I said, that was definitely an upset. I feel like, but at the same time, I could see an argument where Washington could have snuck that game. Just with everything that's going on with Pittsburgh and whatnot, it just kind of felt like they were due for one.
For
But
sure. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, this is just a slice of that humble pie that Pittsburgh needed.
yeah,
I mean, they've come out as an organization and said, we're chasing a Super Bowl here, not necessarily that perfect record. So I think it alleviates a lot of pressure to lose, as well as just kind of got to check yourself. Like they were undefeated this long. Taking that loss, I think going into this excuse me, going through practice, getting ready for next week. I think the preparation is going to be better than ever, and they're just going to come out swinging.
yeah, for sure. And I mean, yeah, shout out 72 Dolphins. Like they've been saying that all fucking. Still the only team undefeated. Like who
They
gives a
probably will
flying
be
fuck?
ever.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that's just hard to do now, especially just how good some of these teams are. But I think hey, big plus for the fucking Skins or fucking football team there. Like I said, I think they got a bright little future. Still got to figure out their quarterback position. I think Alex obviously obviously Alex Smith playing good football right now, but they just kind of need that franchise guy. I think once they figure that out.
Turns out it wasn't Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, it turns out didn't even really give that dude a shot. It feels like, but I think they're heading in the right direction. And hey, there's them and the Giants are sitting at 5-7, so who knows? Fucks around and maybe Washington slips up there and becomes a problem or at least a playoff team, and that'll be fun to watch. But last game we got on to talk about here before we wrap things up. Last night's game between 49ers and the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen kind of going out there and just fucking was out there just feasting at the soup kitchen. Went out there and did the damn thing. They look super good. The other side with the 49ers, like I said, I'm a big fan of Nicky Mullins. Just kind of to me, he's like a guy I don't see why you'd hate. Just goes out there and does his job. Obviously threw a couple nasty picks, but I think look good for the most part. And 49ers, look kind of good. That boy Brandon Ayuk went out there, had himself a good performance. I think he's legit. Debo Samuel and whatnot. But just having Jimmy G out, having Travis Kelce out, all those pieces they have on defense out. I know they got Richard Sherman back a couple weeks ago, but I don't.
Richard Sherman's low key burnt, man. I hate to say it, hate to see it, but he's just
Well, see, at one of these points, I mean, I think he's still good enough. I don't think he's all the way washed, but he'll be one of them locker room guys, one of them veteran guys. But yeah, he got burned up in the Super Bowl last year. It hasn't really
never
looked
been
the
the
same
same.
since.
Never. Yeah, I just want to give you Josh Allen's stat line here before we head out because it was so insane.
Crazy.
32 for 40, 375 yards, 4 tutties, 0 interceptions. I mean, that's just
yeah, man. And dude, Cole Beasley was fucking stuff on Diggs.
Slot receiver, dude. Love Cole Beasley.
Love me some Cole Beasley. Like I said, dude, they're just putting on, dude. I don't know what's up with white guys only being allowed to be like 5'10" slot receivers, but
getting that job done, dude.
Some guys, yeah, they're going out there and getting that job done. But shout out the Bills. Obviously went with the Niners winning that game because they were the favorite for some fucking reason.
Yeah, it was +1, basically a pick 'em, but still,
yeah, that'll never make sense to me. I guess I could have saw some of the arguments, but
especially all that shit going on with COVID. I mean, they got kicked out of San Fran. They're playing in Glendale, Arizona right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just a whole lot of shit off the field going on to also account for.
Yeah. But yeah, shout out the Bills, dude. Shout out Josh Allen going out there and just feasting up on them boys, putting up some good numbers. Bills, we said I think the Bills had to win this game for sure. I think the Bills still have a game against the Dolphins, which will be hyped to see.
Yeah.
I don't really know who I like between the two teams. I want to say the Dolphins just because I've kind of been on that wave all year, but obviously the Bills are a fucking legit football team. Bills Mafia, shout out for getting it done. But yeah, dude, that was like some exciting ass football this Sunday. We've had some other stuff kind of happen with some other sports, a little NBA and stuff. We plan on making a little separate video for to cover all that at one time. But we got any other little football nuggets? Any other little?
Yeah, let me just give you two things here. So, quick little live update right now. We got the Cowboys Ravens.
Yep.
Ravens are up 17-10, 9 minutes left in the third quarter. So, I mean, I don't know. The Ravens just kind of been sucking this year, so I would really like to see them win a game. But I don't know. That's just, if I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to watch the rest of that game. Like, I'm just not interested.
Nah, I got other shit to do. You know,
and just one little last thing here. Sorry to cut you off. I want to give a shout out to the boy. Check out the link in the description. More Money Investing. You're interested in Robinhood in stocks, get your money up, not your funny up. Click the link in the description and, see what that's all about because, that's a little something going on there.
A little something going on there. Everybody likes money. They say it can't buy happiness, but it fucking helps if you got a little. So yeah, YouTube, More Money Investing, get your dollars up on the gang. With that being said, the Meat Pack, Salami Squad, Richie, Rogers, get the fuck out of here. Woo!